Israel has officially began to bomb south of Gaza after telling Palestinians in Gaza to flee there because they were caring for the safety of Palestinians. It is mostly women and children that are being blown up to bits. There's no more internet connection in Gaza, so we can barely see what's happening. My friends that work in the United Nations have informed me that the US is pressuring Egypt and the UAE to take in Palestinians. And they are refusing because the moment that they do, they will become refugees and never ever be able to return to Gaza. There are many Palestinians in Gaza that still want to remain there. They are not going to leave because their last form of resistance is to die on this land. That is their last non-violent form of resistance, is to die on this land. I'm sitting in my room and I'm thinking about what will become of Gaza. And I thought of hotels and casinos that will be built on top of their bodies, and music festivals that will be headlined by Justin Bieber and Bruno Mars and Imagine Dragons. And there will be photo ops of Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner and LeBron James, and they'll dress in, Palestinian thobes like they do in Coachella. And people like Gal Gadot and Amy Schumer and Jamie Lee Curtis will give speeches that are deserving of standing ovations about how Israel is the greatest democracy in the world. There will be no memorial, no evidence that people ever lived there.
Assalamu alaikum. Right now, the block around us is being attacked. We are on the last floor of our house. Right now, the block around us is being attacked. We don't know which building is going to be under attack, but a lot of people out in the streets are screaming, and we are not sure what's going to happen. I'm afraid. We haven't heard any hits yet, but we're scared that something is going to happen. A lot of our family is in the streets and is in this neighborhood. We don't know what's going to happen. We're trying our best to stay away from electricity, and we're trying our best to stay away from any glass and any windows. You can hear the attack, and you can hear the missiles flying in the sky right now. Right now, everyone in my neighborhood is in the streets. We are not sure which house is about to get bombed, but we just want to make sure our safety, and we don't know where safety is at this point.
We don't know if we're gonna still be alive when there's sunlight again. My family and I are still in Gaza City. We refuse to evacuate. We are not gonna do the same thing our ancestors did in 1948 when they left their houses 75 years ago and they never came back. In case this is my last video and my last message to the world, I would like to say that I do not forgive anyone who could have stopped this bloodbath. I do not forgive the Western world for taking the enemy's side. I do not forgive you, and we hope, and I personally hope, that our faces haunt you forever. It's Palestine first and Palestine last.
So right now, if you are putting out a statement talking about how your heart goes out to the hostages in Israel, but you are not saying that your heart goes out to the people, the civilians, the children of Gaza, if you are condemning Hamas, but you are not simultaneously condemning the Israeli government and the U.S.'s unconditional support for the Israeli government as they are bombing civilians in Gaza, as they have cut off food and electricity to a city that is over 50% children because of the extremely low life expectancy rate there, because people there are suffering under the worst form of apartheid in the world's largest open-air prison and constantly are experiencing violence at the hands of the Israeli army. If you didn't give a shit what was happening in Palestine up until 2 days ago, that is because you see Israelis as people and you do not see Palestinians as people. And if you live in the US and that's you, it's understandable if you haven't been paying attention, because the Western media is extremely white supremacist. And that is how racism works. Israelis get to be white, Palestinians are non-white, and they are therefore not people. You see this difference in humanization when you look at the very rhetoric that media uses to describe the difference between Israelis being killed and Palestinians dying. In the obfuscation of Israeli military aggression and settler aggression by calling such things clashes. And maintaining the dehumanization of Palestinians is so important to the project of white supremacist imperialism in Palestine that it is extremely threatening to do anything to humanize Palestinians. Which is why my suggestion yesterday, which I always make whenever there's violence in occupied Palestine, that people read a book, any book by a Palestinian author. That is so threatening to people. People take that as anti-Semitic, the suggestion that you read a book by a Palestinian. Because if you read a book by a Palestinian, it is going to humanize Palestinians for you, and it will change the way you see this conflict forever. A few years ago on YouTube, I created the Read for Palestine challenge. And apparently that was so threatening that it got me put on an Israeli block list, and this notorious website, which I won't name, but which keeps tabs of, people they say are notorious anti-Semites. And I, an outspoken Jewish author, am, according to them, a horrible anti-Semite because I encourage people to read Palestinian literature. So before you fix your mouth to say anything about what is going on in Israel and Palestine right now, ask yourself, have you sought out Palestinian voices to listen to? Have you ever read a book by a Palestinian author? If you need suggestions, check out my last video. I don't understand how anyone can be silent right now. I can't wrap my mind around it. I can't wrap my mind around how you're still posting pictures of your lunch to social media and you've said nothing about the genocide in Gaza. Israel just bombed a hospital that was full of kids. They want to kill as many people as possible. They want to kill all of them. It's pretty clear. And our government supports them wholeheartedly. Our tax dollars funded this. Our tax dollars paid for the bombs. What are you going to do about it today? What are you going to do about it tomorrow? What are you going to do about the day after that and the day after that? Meet this moment with the greatest moral urgency of your life. Listen, believe me, I know that speaking out can have consequences, but how can you live with yourself if you stay silent?